long as man was able to wonder, the uncertainty of what lies beyond death has always been left for speculation. When you try to conceptualize death, usually what comes close to it is a sleep without a dream. A complete time skip of 6 or 7 hours occurs the moment you close your eyes, and your only recollection is a vacant space of darkness left in your mind. The notion of absolute nothingness waiting at the end of our life is a difficult idea to grasp. You can try to imagine death as total darkness, but you know that it must be even darker than that. Our brain is incapable to conceive its own non-existence, even though we are aware that death is imminent for all of us. We are probably the only animal conscious that everything around us has a limited time, aware of the approaching demise of itself, of its loved ones, and of the world it inhabits. The evidence of our existence on this world will simply fade away with time, and that is probably what fuels the fear of death, being forgotten. Religion or other forms of spirituality offer an answer for such existential problem, proposing another stage of life where immortality is bestowed for those who follow its teachings. Thus, it has brought comfort for some people in the midst of life's mutability. Humans have been studying the world that surrounds them since the moment they acquired the ability to reason. Thus, some humans were not satisfied with only the answer given by religion. They sought for different kinds of solutions to circumvent death. With the progress of technology, the advancement of medicine followed alongside it. The people who were born in the past, whose life expectancy was around the age of 30, by their perspective, might consider that we have already unlocked the key for immortality, given that the life expectancy in some countries have even surpassed the 80 years of age. But as always, humans unsatisfied keep searching for something even greater. The person who has gotten some notoriety for combating his own time is Brian Johnson, a man who one day decided to reverse his aging by following a rigorous diet and exercise regimen, visits a wide variety of doctors, and transforms his own house into a clinic to perform all kinds of procedures with different kinds of machineries. For example, one of his procedures is injecting his body with his son's plasma, and he also does literally erection measuring contests against his own son. Of course, these procedures are not accessible for the general public, and only the Epstein class can afford it because of the expensive equipment and supplements and medicines and all of the other crap. But even if you had the money to perform them, is it really worth it? Such incessant work to pursue longevity will force you to spend a lot of time in these boring and unhumane practices, thus wasting the very thing you're trying to extend. Imagine consuming over 25 pills of supplements every morning just to gain, let's say, a minute. Then that minute will be spent in the next boring exercise of the routine that will also grant you another minute to waste for the next activity of the schedule. Seems like a pointless, endless loop, right? Therefore, as cheesy and as simple as it is not about living a long life, but an interesting life. We have a finite time on this globe, so we should make the most of it. At least that's what I thought. While spending my precious and finite time on my favorite activity, I have come to ponder about the people who made it possible for me to enjoy this medium. In particular, the man whose name is pronounced with respect and devotion, Gabe Newell, an individual who needs no introduction if you have played at least one video game on your PC. As you might know, Mr. Newell is approaching an age where he's about to receive his final call, and it hit me the same way it did back when I was 12 years old and I found out the sun was going to explode in 300 gajillion years into the future. Now, I know I said that living an interesting life is more important than living a long one, but Gabe Newell must live a very long life. It is very important for him to do so if you don't want your Steam library to be molested by whatever corporate suit that will be appointed as his successor. Because the worst thing that could happen is for Valve to become a public company where the profits of the investors are prioritized over the quality of the service provided for the consumers. You can say goodbye to massive discount packages, refunds, the Steam marketplace, the ability to trade cosmetic items, and so many other things. Recently, Valve was struck with different lawsuits over whatever made a bullshit excuse for the purpose of extorting money from them, and usually I will not give a shit about it. Corporations exploiting the legal system just to tear down competition by demanding money from each other? Wow dude, that shit happens every day. But Valve is different. They are not perfect, but they are the best when it comes to provide a pro-consumer service with Steam, and have taken actions against practice that can hurt your experience. Many of their decisions have consequences in the gaming industry, especially in the PC side of the community, because of how massive and influential Steam is. Valve is the company that decides the song everybody else dances to, so it's important for us, that they choose a good song. They clearly understand that having a loyal and dedicated consumer base is more beneficial for them in the long run, and that corporate philosophy to put the consumer's experience first comes from Gabe Newell. You might think I'm being extremely pessimistic, but it's important for you to realize that the video game industry always finds a way to reach deeper levels of depravity and shamelessness, so you have to always be prepared for the worst. And that means we must find a way to extend Gabe's lifespan for at least 30 more years. Therefore, we will have him visit Brian Johnson so that Brian can measure Gabe's morning erections as an indicator of his overall health. If that doesn't work, then we will force feed Brian Johnson with the nastiest Mac burger available so all his work in progress gets lost, and begin to search for other methods of rejuvenation. Human experimentation might be necessary, and I believe gacha players will be optimal test subjects for that. Remember, all of this is for the sake of our video games.